were burned out as leaders and managers too. And we go, oh, this management job sucks. Why would I want to do that? I just going to go back to playing my instrument.
Well, I have a very real example of this happening right now with a former LEAP graduate.
Really? Yeah.
Was doing, literally, they lost 3 people and she was doing 3 positions. Ugh. And got completely burnt out. And the upper management wasn't listening to her. And she left. Yeah. And they are in a world of hurt because she's burnt out. And she's like, I'm not doing it anymore. I can make the same. She's not even leaving for a pay raise.
Right.
Leaving for the same money, but her quality of life is going to expand. So it's a real issue. Thanks for asking that question, Amber.
Yeah.
But as leaders, we all have to really look at what's really happening.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think, the days of just burning people out, or, cracking the whip, so to speak, and saying, just work harder. This just, the baby boomer generation, which I am one, we were willing to kind of do that and not say no. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, I'm with this next generation of, like, no, that's not okay. And, your best performers are going to be the first ones to leave if they're getting burned out or not getting the resources they need. And even just right now in the pandemic times, just a little bit of compassion for what's going on in their lives. So this model is a great model called the boundary model. And in the middle there is this leaders define the boundaries and then encourage people to be self-governing. And there are a few elements to this model, clarity of expectations or outcomes. What are the results? What are the resources and information available? What are the constraints that we have? And that can include I'll go through some of this here in a little bit more detail, and we have a tool for you that goes through these things. But this actually fits really nicely with that Tom Gilbert 6 boxes model and timeframes to solve for the problems of lack of feedback, lack of resources. And I'll share with you just, I call it the playground study. That is an example of this. These social scientists, and they crack, these studies sometimes really kind of crack me up. How do they come up with these? And they do it with little kids or whatever. And anyway, social scientists wanted to sort of see. They're kind of studying, rules and boundaries and kind of chaos theory. And so they set up this experiment with elementary school kids, and they hypothesized that without any boundaries or rules, there would be just all kinds of chaos, right? And nothing would get done. Kids might be fighting on the playground, et cetera. And the thing was simple. The first run of this experiment was, they just said, all right, when it's recess time, there are no rules. You can do whatever you want. And that was it. And so at one point, the teacher, there wasn't even a bell that went off that said it's recess time. The teacher just stopped teaching. And the kids were like, is it recess? I guess so. And some kids, got up and went out, but what were the researchers with their clipboards and were observing really strange things. It was very quiet on the playground. Kids looked confused. There were small groups kind of huddled together, talking with each other, but there was nobody on the playground equipment. Couple kids didn't know, when does recess end? Some of them wandered back into their classroom. And they were like, that's strange. So then they ran the experiment again. And this time they gave the the kids several kind of rules and very simple rules that, at recess, there will be a bell that rings to acknowledge that recess is beginning, and you will have a 5-minute return to classroom bell at the end of recess. You can do anything you want out on the playground as long as you stay within the fences. And then the bell rang, and bang, there was noise, joy, cacophony of kids squealing with joy and running out to the playground on the equipment. There were even kids actually kind of at the fences, kind of climbing on the fences, but not going over them. And so what's the conclusion of this experiment? I don't know about you, but I've worked in work environments where my boundaries were not clear. And as much as I consider myself a go-getter and a high-performing employee, I played smaller. So I always think of this playground study as really a great example of what can happen in organizations when our boundaries are not clear. We actually play smaller. We're more confused. We don't shoot for the fences, so to speak. So with this, we actually have a tool, and I think Nicole has a link that she'll drop into the chat box for you. So